Because I am the working parent. I am gone a lot. And they're so supportive. But I always have the youngest one, I have this little voice. Hey, did you sell a house today? I don't ever want to say no to that kid, so I've got to sell houses, you know?
Hey everybody, we're here with Kara Zahasky. She is our next guest for the Results Driven podcast. Kara is on the Good Life group, based out of the Loring Park office now. Had a big move a few months ago. Mm-hmm. Kara, you've been with the team for how long?
I have been with the team as long as I've been with Remax Results. Mm-hmm. So that is just over 2 years.
Okay.
Riveting.
I understand that, well, you've got a couple of kids that we were just chatting about how the trials and tribulations of being a parent. I want to learn a little bit more about you personally, but, first, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Decorah, Iowa.
Okay.
The small town of Decorah, about an hour from Rochester. I'm a small town girl, born and raised.
And then, anything noteworthy or interesting that happened in Iowa? Just saying that out loud sounds ridiculous, but maybe something happened.
I mean, there are so many. I love my hometown.
How many people?
I have no idea. Google it.
Like under 1,000?
8,000.
8,000. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's where Luther College
town.
is.
There's a stoplight, right?
Many stoplights.
Okay, that's
many stoplights.
It's a bustling metropolis.
You've never been?
I've never been.
You should go.
Okay. What part of Iowa?
Northeast corner.
Okay. Which college is there?
Luther College. I feel like, Ed, you're not listening very well.
Jeez.
We have to break the ice right away here, right?
No, Luther College.
So I was born, my mom was high risk with myself and my sister, so I was born in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is also about an hour away, so that is why I love cheese.
Oh, yes.
But I grew up in Decorah.
Okay. So that's why people like cheese, because they're born.
It's where they're born, right?
Yeah, got it.
Just kidding.
La Crosse. Okay. Luther College. Did you go?
I went to Luther College for half of a year.
Okay. Then what happened?
Pretty much a full semester.
Were you there when Dave Matthews recorded his epic duet with
I think I was still in high school then.
Okay.
Otherwise, it was in college. I don't know. It was fuzzy those years because right out of high school, I eloped and got married and was a married person at Luther.
Okay.
And then we up and moved out of state.
You and your husband?
So I was very adventurous as a youth.
Where did you elope to?
Las Vegas. Yeah.
Sweet.
Traditional.
Yeah. Just the classic tale. Which chapel or what was
the Little White Wedding Chapel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still have pictures?
I do still have wedding pictures.
Okay.
Of course I have wedding pictures. No, yeah. So I had an interesting
Did your parents know?
Life. My parents knew. Nick and I had known each other for 3 or 4 months when we ran off and got married. He was a couple years older. So that was so cool.
Okay.
And I don't know. I was 18, we went and got married. They knew, but they weren't invited. So that's maybe the one regret I have, that my parents didn't come to my wedding. Mm-hmm. But they're so supportive and not pushy. They just went along with it. So
this was one of those things where you just knew.
Yeah.
It became a truth that was just undeniable, and it made all the sense in the world.
Absolutely.
And the world wasn't going to tell you guys.
The world was not going to tell us anything. So we went to Las Vegas and got married and ended up moving there.
Okay. Right away, or?
So Luther for a semester, and then we moved to Las Vegas.
Okay.
So the first 2 babies were born there.
Okay.
And that was one thing Nick and I agreed on right away. We want to have kids. Like, I wanted life, instantly. Mm-hmm. Like a big life. And to me, that was family and kids.
What else does a big life mean? I like that.
Yeah.
I like that phrase. What does that mean to you?
It's still the same. It's still family and kids and having an adventurous life. I think a lot of people, when they meet me, think I am so quiet and reserved, yet I have these huge ideas and this big visions. And when it's right, I take a risk.
Okay. But none of these sound like risks to you when you when you make these decisions?
I don't think they're risks to me, but I think other people
would
interpret things as like, oh,
yeah,
you're 18, you shouldn't be getting married. Or a career change. Real estate is my third or fourth career.
Yeah.
And this is it now. I'm a big girl, and this is what my job is.
What were your other careers? So you moved out to Vegas, and what was the career path, or what did you do then?
I wanted to go to college, but I knew 4 years wasn't a good fit. So I started at Luther. I excelled in school, but I didn't love it. I just didn't love it. That wasn't right for me. That structure wasn't right for me. So I found something that was shorter because I was on a path to greatness, but I wanted it to be quick. So I was learning, right, as an 18, 19-year-old, learning what that looked like. So I went to school for massage therapy and spa development and had a baby, and then graduated when I was pregnant with the second one and went full on into spa development. So spa design, I worked for spas in Las Vegas. I developed a few of my own. No one could tell me that I couldn't do something.
Yeah.
Anything I tried, I was just going to go really big with it.
What was that like? I mean, to a pretty young person to be opening up businesses in what I imagine is pretty intimidating environment, Las Vegas.
But I didn't know it was supposed to be.
Okay.
Like I don't want to say I was naive, because I felt like I was very educated and also street smart, but you couldn't stop me.
Yeah.
When it comes to business, you usually can't.
So there's no little voice up here in your head that is sitting here is telling you, or maybe there is a voice.
There's a loud voice.
Is there a loud voice, but you don't listen? Is that it?
I'm stubborn.
Okay. That's really admirable.
Yeah. The voice is sometimes louder now, the older I am and the more that I've lived life, and it's loud now.
Okay.
I have to tell it to
Yeah.
be quiet sometimes, but
After doing the spa thing for a while, what was your next career shift?
so having 2 kids, and people live in hot climates all the time, but I grew up in Iowa. I love seasons. I love season changes. I don't want to say this to the world. I do love winter.
It's okay.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay.
Please forgive me. No,
Yeah.
I love seasons, and being in the Midwest and being around family, since we had missed a couple years of grandparents, and I wanted more family. So we came back to Iowa, built a house there. I built a spa there. So I've had new construction experience from the get-go.
Build it yourself, or
Yeah, we built it. Well, my dad built it.
Okay.
But I picked everything.
You designed.
So if you want to call it,
designing?
I designed it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And what did your husband do with this all equation?
Well, I mean, he designed it too.
Okay. He was
but-
part of it. All right.
He was a part of it. We
But let's be
disagreed on
real.
we disagreed on a lot of things, but
And then ultimately, whose design choices were ultimately selected?
honestly, mostly my dad's.
Okay.
So he is a builder. I grew up with a builder as a dad.
Oh,
So
Okay.
my dad's a builder, so he was the builder of the house.
Yeah.
It all made sense. We got a smoking deal on that,
yeah.
on the construction costs, on his labor and everything. But I grew up with a builder.
Okay, so you grew up with sort of a component of real estate was just always part of your life.
Yes and no. So I grew up moving from house to house in the same town.
Oh, would they do the thing where they build it, live there for a couple of years, and move?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And for those of us listening who don't know the reason why he would do that?
Well, I'm sure there were financial reasons and like tax benefits and certain reasons.
Yep.
I never knew about any of those. I just thought it was because he loved to build houses and we got to move into different spaces.
Yeah, but it's a capital gains exemption, right? If you use the property as a primary residence for 2 years,
Yes.
you don't have to pay taxes essentially on much of any of it.
Right.
Or maybe
I
none of
never
it.
knew that. We
Yeah.
never knew.
Well,
like,
right.
We
Why
never
would
talked
you?
about
But
that. Like,
now we can as real estate
yes, my
professionals, we
sister
can
and
talk
I,
about it. Okay.
we're learning about taxes from a young age.
Yeah. All right.
No, I love, to this day, I love the smell of sawdust. I love construction smells. I love the smell of Menards. It is like a happy place for me because it reminds me of my dad.
Okay.
Who's still here, but he's retired.
Yeah. All right. On that, you and I agree. My dad used to take us to basically Menards every Sunday.
Oh, I
We would
love Menards.
just ride around in the cart and
Yeah,
look
so
at
I've
2x4s.
had a construction, a building, real estate adjacent background, but I never knew a realtor growing up. I never knew one. I can't think of one person in the profession that I knew growing up. I never saw them. They were never at the house.
Did you see your dad building homes?
I saw my dad building homes and remodeling homes. We would drive around every Sunday and look at roofs. Like, he loved roofing, and any quick job, he loved that too. So we would drive around and look at houses. So I've done that my whole life.
But you imagine just sort of learned watching your dad, even something as big and complex as a house, it's all just its component parts.
Absolutely.
And it's doable. And that's maybe where part of your optimism or fearlessness to just build your own thing and do your own thing and not let anyone stop you is recognizing it's all 2x4s.
Yeah, it starts with pieces, and it's building that puzzle.
Yeah.
And I could translate that to every part of my life.
So what was the next career move then when you moved back here? I guess you did build your home, you had your spa.
Yep.
In Iowa. Then what happened?
We moved so at that point, we got up to 4 kids.
Okay.
Living in Iowa.
All right.
So 4 children.
Boys, girls?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oldest is a girl, and then 3 boys.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. And they're old now. My kids are really old now. They're 20 at the time of this recording in 2023. They are 22, 20, 18, and 13.
Wow.
Which is crazy. I have 3 adult children.
What's that? Okay, we're going to have to talk about
that.
Yeah.
I'm barely an adult. I don't feel like I should have adult children. But
what?
Yeah, so I went from Iowa we went to South Dakota for a while with a job, my husband's job. And then we have been in Minnesota 9-10 years.
Okay.
Something like that.
Adult kids, I think we just have to talk about this for a minute. Did they go through a phase where they were just like, we want nothing to do with the parents, you guys don't know anything? Did they go through their own, big swing from building their own big life?
Yes, in their own ways.
Okay.
They could not be any more different, the 4 of them, from each other. I mean, if you have a pie and they're each a slice of it, like, they're all very, very different humans, which is so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
To have 4 kids that are so unique. They're all amazing. I love having them.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I don't have 20 kids.
Because I feel like when they're in their early teens, they start to stop being just like the little kids, which is kind of the way you raised them, and they start actually turning into their own people.
I feel like they started that before they were teenagers.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And so different than me even. Like, my daughter and I get along so well, but we are so different.
In any way particular, or just like...
She is so much braver than I am. That's
saying something.
She is so brave, and she is feisty, and I'm usually very politically correct and very even, and I'm kind of a people pleaser. I don't try to be, but I'm most comfortable without conflict.
Sure.
And she would not care.
Okay.
She would say something if she felt like it, maybe, to the point that she shouldn't, but
cool.
She's very bold and very brave.
Awesome.
Yeah. And she's tiny. She's spunky.
So when you and your family landed in Minnesota, what was it that brought you here?
So that was me. I was in retail at the time, so another big girl career. I was brought to the cities because it had more opportunity than South Dakota.
Okay.
We were in Sioux Falls. So a company brought us here for my growth and development, and then I was in luxury retail, and then I left retail.
Okay.
But we stayed here, so.
Retail.
And we will be staying here.
Okay.
In case anyone's worried.
Good. We're not letting you leave. It's not happening.
I am a Minnesota girl now.
So then how did you find yourself getting into real estate?
There's one more move before that.
Okay.
There's one more move before real estate.
I'm not listening.
I called you out early.
I know.
I probably threw you off. So after I transitioned from retail, and I had another business in there too. My husband and I opened a wellness business together with my spa background, and he is a chef. We opened another business together that ultimately we don't have that anymore. Great experience. It was really cool to try to do something together, but we're both creative people, and we're makers and doers, and we have big ideas, and that didn't work for us we needed to run a business.
Sure.
So in all of that transition while we were running that business, I was working in restaurants.
Okay.
So retail to doing this business together with my husband to restaurants.
Was this in any way affiliated with his chefiness?
It actually was not at all.
Okay.
Absolutely not. But
all right.
Yeah. So
Is
I
it
was
management?
in a restaurant. Yes.
Okay.
So I was managing a restaurant. That's a funny story too, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's interesting because I wasn't looking for a full-time job. I was on Craigslist. I don't know if I was looking to thrift something, or we found our last home on Craigslist too, so people do that.
Wow.
They don't always talk to realtors first, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
People like to look for stuff. And I found this job, and to this day, it's been such a connector to great people in my life. And I know there's a reason why I worked there, but I wasn't looking for that job. So I was a part-time host during the day because the kids were in school, and I could get out of the house and meet people. And then I started managing the place and then went to their corporate office. So things move very quickly. They always have in my career paths.
Yeah.
And that is what brought me to real estate.
Okay.
Yes. That transition is key to why I'm here.
And why? Why is that?
So we had regular lunch clients. So I met a lot of great professionals at this restaurant. And one of them had asked if I knew anybody, because I know a lot of people. I'm a connector of people. And he said, do you know anybody who could help me evaluate what I could sell my house for? And I thought this is something that he'd have to pay for. I didn't know anything about real estate, you guys. To this point, I know nothing about real estate. Remember, I didn't grow up knowing any realtors at all. I had sold a few of my houses very blindly. I didn't know the process. I was never given the tools to understand real estate. So he asked if I could find somebody for him. And I said, yes, I know the people. It's Will and Sarah Huffman. So I want to schmooze them because Sarah's a personal friend of mine. We knew each other in Sioux Falls. I didn't ever expect that I'd be getting into this business with them.
Yeah.
So I go to Will and Sarah. They're in Loring Park. I brought them coffee to butter them up because I didn't want to have this guy, my friend, pay for it.
Okay.
I didn't realize this is an appointment. They want this. This is an equity evaluation or a listing appointment. I didn't know it was a good thing for an agent to get this kind of appointment. So I wanted to butter them up, so hopefully they won't charge me or charge him. And I said, hey, can you go out and evaluate my friend's house and tell him what he can sell for? Can you do that for me? Oh, yeah, we can out. And here's Will, just, if you know Will, just picture him, right? Oh, yeah. So how's business going for you? Now he's talking to me, 2021. You know what's happening in Minnesota with restaurants. It's a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
And they're friends of mine. So I let my guard down, and I honestly told them it's going terribly. Restaurants, it's a terrible industry right now.
Yeah.
And I was so open with them on how displeased I was with my career path, and reminded him that I didn't mean to go there. I wasn't trying to get into restaurants anyway, but I had been there a couple of years. And he left me with a nugget that changed everything, and actually changed it very quickly. He said, why don't you sell your friend's house? Why don't you join us now? Why don't you get into real estate? And I don't really think he was inviting me. I don't think that was, maybe he was. He'll have to come on and share for himself. But I, though, take it as he invited me to join them in real estate. Like this, he is like, come on in. Yeah. Be a realtor. And I took that invitation. Because whether it was meant to be one or not, right. I took the invitation.
But I mean, I've got to imagine he was seeing you, caring about this, client, which wasn't really your client at the time, but right. Seeing you doing all the things that a good real estate agent does, which is they put the other people first, right? And you didn't know what you didn't know at the time, which is that anybody would have done that market analysis. But you were out here. You were advocating for someone who, wasn't paying you to do anything, wasn't asking you to do anything, but you were just trying to make sure that they were taken care of. I got to imagine that's probably partly what
I think
they were
so.
Seeing.
Yeah, I think so. I think they saw that, and I think they saw that whatever I had done in the past, I was an award winner in. So I like to achieve and I like to be successful. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I will get there.
Yeah.
So I think they saw that belief in myself.
Your first year or two, coming out of COVID, trying to build a business in that environment, what was that like?
I didn't know what environment I was in. I didn't know if it was good or bad or different. It just is what it was what it was. It is what it is. It doesn't matter what the environment is. If you talk to enough people,
right,
there's your business.
Because if you focus on things that you can't do, then all you're going to do is say, I can't do anything.
Yeah,
right?
you just work within it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I signed up after that conversation that very night. I signed up for Minnesota Realty School.
Okay.
And then started. I just started. I didn't know.
Yeah. I was teaching for them probably around that time.
Yeah. And thankfully it was online because I still had a full-time job.
Gotcha.
So I could go to work, get home in time to log in, and take night classes.
What's currently in now, if you were removed from COVID, but we had a couple pretty banner years there that you got to potentially be a part of. But now, today as we're recording this, what are some of the bigger obstacles that you're seeing in this market for your customers? Interesting
question. There are different obstacles, whether you're a seller or a buyer, and no matter what your goals are. That's very personal. The market is the market, but it still comes down to what each individual client has as their need. The one thing that I can say that's more about me than them or the market is I had a couple months this past year that I did not have a sale. I did not sell real estate. I was unemployed. Still working 6 days a week, ridiculous hours that I imposed upon myself, and did not have a sale. And that can happen to people. Like, I don't follow a lot of people's statistics because I'm up against myself, so I really don't know what other people's businesses are like, and I don't compare, but I'm sure there's somebody listening that has had a month where they haven't sold something. And that I didn't think I would ever experience. And I can tell you exactly what it was. It wasn't for a lack of trying, but it was the inner dialogue that I was telling myself. So kind of back to the very beginning of this podcast where we're talking about what we say to ourselves and how I've always been very strong.
Yeah.
There were a few months where, looking back now, I was telling myself, like, what are you doing? I had made this decision to do it, to be all in real estate. And there were months when I didn't make a sale. Yeah.
Do you think that inner dialogue is
that chatter?
like, or was it sort of just manifesting, and do you think just some energy that, or were you also just listening again to your clients and what their needs are, and just allowing sort of things to play out as they were supposed to?
They were definitely playing out as they were supposed to, because there was so much follow-up happening. A lot of those clients that I was working with at the time have purchased since then. So it's a part of the roller coaster of this business.
Yeah.
But new to me. A year in, I feel like I found success very quickly. And then to have a few months without seemingly any movement, it's,
So one of the things that I think maybe happens with changes in market or more challenging market is just the timelines get extended, right? The time frame for a buyer or someone to make the decision to purchase or sell gets pushed back. I actually saw a statistic just the other day that the amount of years a seller will now, on average, will stay in their home is longer. Many more years than it used to be. The average was like 7 years. Now it could be upwards of 12 or something like that, right? And these are sort of just statistics, which who knows where they're coming from, but it's seems to be that's just becomes more of a longer term, I guess, play, right? In our business, and you have to be patient, you have to be resilient, you have to be sort of unabashedly optimistic too, right?
Right. I have that one.
Okay, you got that one covered.
Yeah,
you don't have the patience one covered? Is it?
No. Sometimes.
Okay.
No, I'm a pretty patient person.
Yeah.
And with clients, I am so patient. I am so patient, and so giving. It's the perfect fit of a career.
Yeah.
For me. And again, I just never knew. I never knew realtors.
Yeah.
So I'll tell all of you realtors listening, make sure people know you exist.
Right.
There could be other great realtors out there that never would have known.
Yeah. That story though, there's a mystique around our business too. The fact that you didn't really know, going in to meet with them, what they'd be willing to do, right, is, just we need to teach them more, like that realtors are, accessible all the time. Like, you guys are,
yes.
you are helpful to a fault, right? Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yes, and maybe not everybody is, right? But
right.
For those of you that are, and I know I am, we need to showcase that.
Yeah.
Better.
Right.
So
what would be something that you'd try to do to do that? I
feel like I am, and I can't give a specific reason on the spot right now thinking about it, but just how I show up, how I am as a person, and not being silent about it.
Yeah. So talk a bit about those months where, you didn't have a sale. You said you were showing up 6 days a week, like working crazy hours. Like, tell me just more about like what was your schedule? What is your sort of own accountability look like?
So those were maybe some of the months where they were the most chaotic, which might not make any sense at all. I've learned 2 things from real estate that I did not have in my life before. And one of them is how to set boundaries. I've never had to learn that in any other, or I just didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe I was presented opportunities to learn that and I did not accept the challenge. But real estate has allowed me to hone those skills of creating boundaries around my schedule, around saying no to things. Boundaries are so important.
Yeah.
And I'd never been great at that up
so what did you do?
This.
So what kind of boundaries did you set for yourself?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still working on it, but
okay.
Yeah,
like carving out time for family,
yes,
or
schedules.
Exercise or whatever.
I was running this chaotic schedule and not earning income doing it. So that has a mental, like, you have to be really strong-minded to be able to not earn an income when you're supporting a family of 6 with that income and working. They feel like you're gone all the time.
Yeah.
Because you are. I go into the office. I don't work from my house. So I go into the office. I have a schedule. When the schedule is done, I do prospect, so I cold call. I call strangers. So I go into the office, I call strangers, I attend meetings, I'm involved in different real estate related groups, and then I am at appointments. So it's appointments, it's helping buyers, helping sellers, and then eventually you go home at the end of the day. So I'm not exactly sure where I was going with that, but one of the things I learned is how to set boundaries around my schedule. That includes saying no to a lot of things. So I committed to not working on Sundays. And for me, that doesn't mean not answering the phone, because I will work from home and answer the phone.
Right.
I will submit an offer, but I'm not scheduling tours and I'm not scheduling appointments on Sundays. I'm not having open houses on Sundays. And I had to do that after this chaotic time of working around the clock, and not being able to serve anybody.
Right.
I wasn't at that point serving myself because I wasn't resting. I wasn't serving the clients because I was exhausted. I wasn't serving the kids because I wasn't mentally available.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's a multi-million-dollar listing appointment. It will not happen on a Sunday.
And that's worked.
That's fairly new, but yes, it has worked.
Yeah.
It's given me some time to rest.
Not to burn out, right? But I mean, you're not taking anything away from them, because you're not saying.
No,
you're just saying,
giving them so much more back.
I'll give you 6 days, right?
Mm-hmm. It's giving so much more back and being able to speak that out and set expectations in the beginning. That doesn't mean every person needs to work 6 days and take a 7th and not work at all.
Yeah.
But you have to find, as a realtor doing something that works for you where you can rest.
Yeah.
Because I would work, and I don't know if this is a compliment or if it's a dig, but people say, wow, you work so hard and you're always working. And I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
If you're enjoying what you're doing, number one, and also what maybe people perceive to be what you're always working, but that's maybe not the reality, right? I mean, as long as you're making the time for yourself for your big life, right? And you're living a big life, and that includes your profession.
Yeah.
But doing it in a way that works. I can certainly understand how taxing it would be to just do a job where you just would wake up every day and say, well, my phone is going to dictate what my day looks like, and my my appointments or whoever calls, and I'm taken away by them every single day. That would be really chaotic and I think unsustainable.
I let that happen for a while.
I think when I was a broker, that same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
Because you just want to always you don't want to miss out the opportunities.
Right.
But you, at the same time, I think you lose sort of control over
Absolutely.
the rest. Maybe the more important thing. There's things that are more important than the career, right? Which is the life that you're building behind it, or building it on.
Right. And it even takes away from the career. It takes away from the things that you do to meet people and to be successful. So, yeah, the schedule is so important. It's taken me a long time with that.
Yeah.
With the discipline of that.
Yeah, and that's a discipline, right? It's something you have to continue to commit to and follow. What are you looking forward to in the coming year?
With real estate?
Oh, anything. Personal or professional. Dealer's choice.
Just I'm looking forward to life in general. And is that a cheesy answer? It's the honest answer. I love gold stars. Will say it that way, and I'm taking it from him, but he describes me that way. I love having the puzzle of each individual situation, each house, each client, each transaction, and putting that puzzle together to help them achieve their goals. And each one is a new little gift that I can work on.
Sure.
So, yeah, each one is a gold star for me.
Is there anything that you want to see in the next year or so that you either improve or, personally, that a component of your business or your, professional life that you want to sort of manifest here on this podcast that we'll be able to circle back on like on a year from now?
I would like to manifest massive success.
Oh,
no.
All right. Well, you got to
That's
say that with
measurable.
a little more. Yeah.
I want to. Can I yell into the microphone? Most of my business this year has come from referrals.
Okay.
Out of state and in-state referrals. And
why do you think that is?
Because I'm showing up. I'm 2 years into the business now, so people actually know that I'm a realtor now.
Okay.
So that has helped.
So these are Sphere people?
No, a lot of them. This is so cool because I love it, and I feel like I've already started to manifest this, and it just continues to grow. So agents from, out-of-state agents that I don't know, so not Sphere, so I would call them strangers, contacting me to help their clients that are local.
How do you think that they're finding you?
Social media.
Oh, okay.
And when I show up to events, I do talk to strangers. I do talk to other agents without staying in
R4, that type of stuff?
R4, Glover stuff. Yeah,
okay.
Anything I go to where I can meet another agent. But I'm more and more active on social media, and people have found me there.
Okay.
And everyone says social media works. You just have to get yourself out there. And I know it's true. And I was reluctant because it's not natural to me, and it's not the first thing I would want to do.
Yeah.
But it actually works, and I love it. I love that other people, without knowing me, understand that they can trust me and that I'm the best fit for them.
Oh.
So.
What is it? Do you have a social media strategy or schedule or something like that you follow, or is it more sort of off the cuff?
It was very off the cuff to start with. I do have a social media calendar now, but you would laugh at it if I showed it to you because it's not very defined right now. So it's just make sure you post something. Just make sure you're present.
Or
I have a daily goal now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does that go?
I'm telling everybody now, so you can all keep me accountable. One post and one story every day.
Interesting. Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram,
The
TikTok?
main ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so bad at TikTok.
Okay.
But I'm Minnesota Homegirl on Instagram.
Ah,
So
okay.
should all connect with me there.
Cool.
Yeah, that's my strategy. And people are finding me
Yeah.
and showing me to their clients and then sending referrals to me. So I love it. I love connecting with other agents across the country, whether
Yeah.
I'm sending a referral out or receiving it in.
Yeah.
So
And it's worth it. I mean,
it's worth it. It's amazing. Yeah.
there's a lot of business that comes in that way.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
As we kind of wrap up, is there anything or anyone, I should say, that as you look back over your professional career, personal growth as a person, you've taken a lot of big steps in your life that you want to honor and thank for someone who's been instrumental in you being here today?
Well, I definitely want to thank my mom and dad. They have always been so supportive. I mean, I wouldn't say because I was 18 and an adult, but to support your child enough to let them go out and do something that you may not agree with at all, like get married,
Mm-hmm.
is huge. And they've been that way my whole life. So, yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Look at what they created.
Wholesome, awesome parents that just support and love you. And I'm out of my family, I'm kind of the weird one. Like, I'm a little quirky. I'm more creative. I have always had these big ideas. Like, even as a kid, I had an art show when I was 10 in my house, and I sold art. Like, we all do stuff as kids, but I had huge ideas, and they let me run with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well,
definitely my mom and dad.
someone who's taken a number of big swings in her life, even though the voice is there, you really never allowed that voice to stop you from building the big life that you're building for yourself. And that's inspiring for me to hear. That's really, something that I think a lot of people should hear. And thank you for telling your story.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I smile a lot, but it certainly hasn't been easy.
Yeah.
Been a lot of trials throughout all of the years, and doing all of that while raising 4 amazing kids. I need to shout out to them too, because they let me do this thing without giving me too much flack for not being around.
Yeah.
Because I am the working parent. I am gone a lot. And they're so supportive, but I always have the youngest one, I have this little voice. Hey, he's 13, so I make him sound like he's the youngest, so he's always going to sound like
He's
a little
baby.
kid. But hey, did you sell a house today? I don't ever want to say no to that kid, so I've got to sell houses, Did you sell a house today? Oh, you closed a house. Show me the picture. Like, the kids are so supportive, and they're big cheerleaders too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you get a gold star for this interview.
Thank you. I love it. And the last thing I do, so now that I'm here, I want to keep talking. Will told me once, I never interviewed a brokerage because I knew I was just starting with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't go through the whole process of who do I want to work with? Who do I want to, hang my hat on? Who is holding my license? And I remember Will saying, you'll meet Brenda someday. You'll meet Brenda, and just know that wherever Brenda is, that's where we want to be. So she didn't even know it. I didn't know her at the time, but I need to thank her too.
Yeah. Love to Brenda Tusshouse, our
Woohoo.
fearless leader.
And then I met her, and she was everything
Yeah.
she was said to be. So
Awesome.
yeah, thank you
Kara,
so much.
Thank you.